Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about an aspect of IELTS that many test takers struggle with, which is how to paraphrase correctly and write a strong introduction for the opinion question type in writing task 2. If you struggle with this or you want to know how to paraphrase correctly, you'll find this video really helpful. What it means to paraphrase correctly and write an introduction for an opinion question type in writing task 2. Now, this is what we'll be discussing today because there is a lot of misconception about what it really means to paraphrase. And at the end of this particular video, you will get to realize that you've been paraphrasing the wrong way. So try your possible best to stay to the end of this particular lecture, right? So moving on. So the first question I know you'll be asking is, what is an opinion question type? Of course, there are different question types in writing task too. But the one we'll be focusing more on is what is opinion question type. And that is questions that end with, to what extent do you agree or disagree? Do you agree or disagree? Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Right? And a whole lot more of them, right? But then these are basically the various the three types that the three common opinion question types that we have, the most common of them. And IELTS really enjoy bringing this set of question types over and over and over again, right? So, a common misconception which I really want to address is this. Many IELTS test takers believe that paraphrasing simply involves changing the words in the question and adding as will now be discussed at the end. I'm going to show you an example of what I mean now, because paraphrasing is not just you changing the words. No, because as usual, once you are focused on changing the words, what happens is that that particular introduction lacks your unique understanding of the question. So it becomes bland, no life, nothing. So the examiner is reading it and then he cannot even connect whatever it is you're writing. And at that point, you have not communicated. So you start losing marks from the word go, which is actually a very wrong technique for you to use, right? So now, so they can understand me better, let us consider this particular example. So this question says, smoking can cause serious illnesses and should be made illegal. To what extent do you agree? Now, here is an incorrect way to paraphrase. This says, several ailments have been linked to smoking. Therefore, it is recommended that it should be banned. This essay will agree with this position as will now be discussed below. Now, you see the way it is. What has happened is that I have just changed illnesses to several ailments. I've put smoking, okay, I didn't change smoking. Therefore, it recommended that it should be banned. So, making level, I just changed the words. So, I just kind of changed the words. You could see that there is no originality in this, right? This doesn't really make sense, right? And this is what most of you do that gets you to what a band six, or that even makes them not even rate you low. Because if you observe the IELTS result that comes out these days, a lot of writing band six are just there. Band six is just like, okay, anybody can have a band six in writing. It's only way your writing is really terrible that you start scoring below a band six, right? So please pay attention now. Now, look at this. This particular introduction, it lacks in what? Originality, making it difficult for the examiner to determine if you truly understand the question. Because if you just change the words and you have not added anything of yours to the question, the examiner just imagines that, okay, could it be that this person actually memorized this thing? Could it be so? Or what? What happened? I'm going to talk about that memorization now. Now, take note of this. There is a marking criteria called off topic. If your introduction seems off topic, you'll be penalized from the start. That's what most people don't realize. And how can the examiner determine that? Is through your what? Introduction. Now, I like using day-to-day experiences to buttress my point. Now, imagine that you're walking along the road and a stranger accost you and tell you, "Hi, I need money," what would be your reaction? You will definitely either you suspect that either he's a scammer or he's a thief or just an irresponsible person asking for money. But then let's let's change the scenario a little bit. Let's say you're walking and this well-dressed fine young man walks up and says, okay, hi, my name is, let's say, John. I am working at this establishment, and we help children who are in need to do XYZ, telling you about what they do in their office as a charity organization. And at the end of everything, he now begs for funds. He now says, okay, please, we wouldn't mind anything that you have, any little you can actually afford, you can spare, please give to us. Probability of you helping, giving a listening ear to that person and helping that person out is higher as compared to the person that just tells you I need money. Though they might have the same intention, but then the approach is what different. That is the power of your what introduction. If your introduction is really, really weak, the examiner from the onset determines whether you're a band six student or a band A student. There's no two ways about it. So just know it today that it is your introduction that determines whether you even score a band eight or a band six. If you have a very bad introduction, by making this mistake I just pointed out, by you just paraphrasing without adding anything of yours to the mix, definitely you are on your sure path to failure. Failure in this sense means that you may not achieve that desired band score that you want. Right? So moving on. Now, to write a good introduction, spend time understanding the question and plan your essay. And let me tell you one funny thing about this. You cannot write a good introduction without first planning your write up, because your introduction should give the examiner an overview of what you want to talk about in your essay. Very, very important. I take that. You For you to write a very good introduction, you must have planned your essay. But this particular video is not for planning. I'm going to talk about planning on a separate video. So just try and subscribe and then turn on your notifications so that you can get it once I drop that particular video. But you need to pay attention here because this is very, very important. And this is one thing that most people fail to do. Of course, like the popular saying goes, one who fails to plan plans to fail. So your planning is very, very important. Now, for opinion question type, there are three basic elements that your introduction to will have. The first one is what? Paraphrase, which is simply what? Your understanding of the question. Now, I think it's time for me to now explain what paraphrasing simply means. Let me give another example. Let's say you go for a meeting, right? A meeting, and your very close friend, he was unable to attend because he was sick or due to unforeseen circumstances beyond his control. He couldn't make it. And after the meeting, he asks you, please, how was the meeting? How did it go? Please, can you just tell me what was said in the meeting? Guess what? You will definitely tell your friend how the meeting went and what the meeting was all about. But you will do so in your own words. And your own words is coming from a place of what your understanding during the meeting. So you see that at the core of the word paraphrase is what you call what? Understanding. That is what paraphrasing simply is. That is what it means. It simply means what? So once you say paraphrasing, it doesn't mean like you are using your own words that corresponds with your what, your own understanding of what the question that you've been asked. That's what paraphrasing is. Of course, I'm going to show it to you as we move on. Right? Number two, that's what we call the thesis statement. Right? Now, it simply means what? Your position. And the position is quite simple. Whether do you agree or do you disagree? Simple. It's not complicated. Forget about the simile complex or thesis statement. It simply means what? Is that part of it, you tell them, okay, This essay agrees, this essay disagrees, and all that. That what you just do with the thesis statement, right? And it is only for what opinion question type, nothing else. For strictly for what opinion question type, right? So you don't have thesis statement for all of that question type. It's only for what opinion question type, right? And number three, so we'll call the outline statement, meaning what reason for taking that position or what your entire essay will cover. This is more or less like giving the examiner a tip. Okay, this is what I want to discuss. This is what my entire essay is centered upon. Better put, the central theme of your essay is what you'll be sharing in your outline what statement, right? Okay, so now applying these three formulas we just discussed, let's rewrite that particular introduction, right? So, in case you've forgotten, the question says, okay, so the question says, several ailments have been linked to smoking. Therefore, it is recommended that it should be banned. This essay will now be, this essay will agree with this position as will now be discussed below. Now, remember, I'm only comparing the old introduction with the new one, right? So the question says smoking can cause serious illness and should be banned. To what extent do you agree? That is the question, right? So now look at we applying that formula. Look at it. It says the fact that smoking causes various terminal ailment is well established. As even cigarette manufacturers have issued disclaimers, has issued a disclaimer stating that smokers are liable to die young. You see what I did there? I've just paraphrased now with what my unique angle. So the text in red is simply what me paraphrasing with my own what angle, right? So now the one in blue is actually what my thesis statement that says banning smoking on this account is an issue this essay will support. Do you get it? That's my thesis statement. Now look at my outline statement. Remember, I said an outline statement give what the central theme of what my essay will be all about or what I'll be discussing. You can call it what an overview as well. So it says, considering its contribution to premature death, poverty, and insecurity in major cities. Moreover, the negative effect of these issues are felt in the economy and the nation as a whole. So let me read this entire introduction now so that it makes a lot of sense, right? It says, the fact that smoking causes various terminal ailments is well established, as even manufacturers have issued disclaimers stating that smokers are liable to die young. Banning smoking on this account is an issue this essay will support, considering its contribution to premature death, poverty, and insecurity in major cities. Moreover, the negative effect of these issues are felt in the economy and the nation as a whole. So you see that out of just a single line, the question is just about a line. I'm able to write an introduction that has at least 5 lines. So immediately the examiner reads my introduction, he understands immediately what I'm about to talk about. And he will equally know that truly this guy actually has a proper understanding of the question. So immediately I'm not losing marks. I'm not losing mark on that mark criteria called off topic. I won't be losing marks again. My marks will be intact. And then he will start reading. He'll start judging me based on other things. But I've carried out my first assignment, which is what we asked you a question. Did you understand it? Okay. Now we know that you've actually understood the question. Now let's see how you respond. So he'll start doing based on another marking what, criteria. But this video is not about marking criteria. I'm just going to talk about the market eraser in my subsequent videos. But for now, this is what we'll be resting for. I hope you've actually understood what it really means to paraphrase your words, to paraphrase in an introduction, how to write a perfect introduction. All right. So you observe that this particular introduction provides more detail, demonstrating my understanding of the question to the examiner. I've said this before. So you can actually attest to it, right? So, my friends, A well-crafted introduction can make the difference between scoring a band 6 or a band 8 in writing. And I hope you benefited from this. To wrap up, remember, paraphrasing isn't just about swapping words, it's about showing your understanding of the question. Take time to plan before you start writing, and your introduction will set the stage for a higher band score. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon to get more tips on IELTS writing. Drop a comment below if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video. Good luck with your preparation.